Okay, so another little update on the farm. Unfortunately, I wasn't lucky enough to get an off-road truck out here as quickly as I'd hoped. Turns out those things are almost impossible to find when you want one and need one, and they're really expensive to rent. And there was only one place in all of Houston that I could get a hold of that even had one for rent. So this morning I was chasing around, stopping anywhere on the side of the road that I saw one parked, asking a few people, and I got a hold of one guy who actually sounded somewhat receptive to the idea, but he hasn't called me back, so I don't know. But definitely didn't get him out here today. Anyway, I was going to show you what we did the last 2 days. Basically, I mentioned in the last video that had my dozer right here, just kind of slicking off ruts. So where we're standing here, this was a bad set of ruts from the last few months of rain and me driving through it. So I had him just kind of blade it out as best he could and kind of smooth it off. And yeah, I'm walking on it now, and even now after 2 days with the sun on it, I can still feel it's gooey. So if I drove across with the excavator, I'd punch down ruts again. You know, my dozer guy, he can kind of float across it because he's got that LPG dozer, but I can't drive on it. So I'm going to try to keep a head on my shoulders and stay off of it, despite how badly I want to drive across it. So that's one set, and then we come around the corner here, and this was another really bad set. This was where they had that original burn hole. There's still some of the hole still there. He tried to push in as much as he could of it after we pumped it out, and then he back drug all of this. So if I walk through here, it's real gooey, but that's fine. You give it another week to shed water off with the sun hitting on occasionally, and then shave off the top and pack it down, and before long we'll have us a pretty good little road. The only downside is a lot of it's filled in with topsoil and not clay like I'd like, but long term, this road, which currently comes down over through here, needs to all be flipped over there against the tree line. So that's why we got to get that hole filled in and packed, and then all the main road needs to be scooted over right up against the tree line. So all these ruts through here, dozer was actually stuck over here the other day, and I pulled him out, so I felt like a boss. But all that has got to pack and settle and become part of the road. And I actually just drove through this a little bit ago with the excavator, and it is very gooey. So after I came back out of it, I back drug it as best I could. But you see how the ground looks like it's just cracking apart here, and that's because that milkshake mud's trying to come up to the top, and it will. So anyway, what I want to show you what I finished up doing today. I actually was able to drive all the way around the top of the pond dam, which is the first time I've been able to do it since I started digging the pond last summer. I had these big piles of soil up here in my way. Had a couple of trees, a few more trees I had to knock down and get them out of the way. But I was able to fight my way through here with the excavator, and yeah, even though it's been stacked up, it wasn't packed when I stacked it, so it got gooey too. But I managed to stay on top of it and not down in it. But you can see how deep my tracks are here, and it's by no means perfect, but same thing. We'll let it set and settle and dry for a couple weeks or whatever, and then dozer will come through here and he'll knock off what he can. But I mean, it's soft, I can barely walk on it right now. The important thing was just to make sure that I kept, again, some barrier, which I did. I mean, you can look out here in the trees, and it's, you know, I'm still a foot above all that, so shouldn't have any water coming through. Hey, there's a nice look down into the deep end of the pond. We are way up here. Oh, I cut me a little shelf right there. So if I do have to pump out the deep end of the pond, I've got a shelf just big enough that I can set the pump on there. Hopefully it won't rock and roll and vibrate its way into the hole. But I fought my way back up out of the mud here, and again left some nasty ruts, but they're still above grade, so they'll drain and they'll pack. And then I came over here. I'll cut this video off and I'll show you the rest of it. Okay, so I came over here. Now we're on the top end of the pond. This is the pile I had stacked up in the last video that I showed you guys, but just did a little bit more grade work, pushing topsoil out that direction. There's still some ruts right through there and water standing. That's where I was matting my way through for the last few weeks, last few months, whatever. When all the hole and all that was full of water, I couldn't drive through there. I was taking my mats and coming across here. So I'm trying to get that filled back in now that I've got all this extra overburden. I'm just pushing it out. I was pushing it with the dozer 2 days ago, but don't have the dozer today. So I just kind of shoved out what I could with the excavator, packed it down a little bit. Of course, out at the leading edge, I was stacking dry dirt on top of water, so of course that's immediate mud. But anyway, came back in here, just did some more, just kind of clean up, brushing things off. Right there where it's shiny, that's a real gooey spot, so I put a few more bucket loads of dirt in there and try to pack them in. But just basic cleanup and touch up today. I wish I could stay out here longer, but you know what? I don't really have anything real valuable that I could do. I could stack up more clay, but at this point, if I can get a big truck in here, I prefer to just load directly into the truck instead of stacking a pile just to reload the pile. So that is the plan. So anyway, I just want to give you that little update, and I'm going to actually head to the house and be home before dark for a change. So just wanted to tell you what was up.